There could be money in the British benefit system with your name on it right now, and one of these payments alone can be worth almost £6,000 a year, completely tax-free. This is not money you might become entitled to at some point in the distant future. It is support the government may already recognize that you qualify for. The problem is that you need to know it exists and take the right step to claim it. Most people never do. Around 1 million people above state pension age are believed to qualify for one particular payment without receiving a single penny. Not because they have been formally rejected and not because their income is too high, but simply because nobody clearly explained the rules to them. The Department for Work and Pensions may not contact you personally to tell you that you should apply. The entitlement can remain untouched year after year. The rules stay the same, your circumstances may continue to qualify, but nothing happens until somebody knows to ask. Today we are going through 5 different payments that thousands of pensioners may be entitled to without currently receiving. We will look at what each one is worth, who may qualify, and the first step needed to start a claim. Pay particular attention to the 4th payment because it is one that very few people understand. It can be worth more than £2,500 a year, and the route to getting it feels completely backwards. Let us begin with the payment that may be worth almost £6,000 a year. It is called Attendance Allowance. The reason so many older people miss it is usually one simple misunderstanding. They assume attendance allowance is only for somebody who uses a wheelchair, needs full-time residential care, or already has a professional carer visiting every day. That is not how the benefit works. Attendance allowance is for people over state pension age whose health condition or disability means they reasonably need help with personal care or supervision to remain safe. You may be thinking that you have some savings, a private pension, or a home of your own, so there would be no point applying. None of those things automatically prevents you from qualifying because attendance allowance is not means tested. The Department for Work and Pensions does not assess your savings, your income, or the value of your home when deciding whether you qualify. The important question is how your health affects your daily life. The range of conditions that can support a claim is much wider than many people realize. It could include arthritis that makes washing, dressing, or moving around difficult, poor vision or hearing, Parkinson's disease, heart conditions, breathing problems, or the early stages of memory loss, where a person needs reminders or supervision to remain safe. The name of the condition is not the deciding factor. What matters is the help or supervision you reasonably need because of it. You also do not have to be receiving that help already. You might live alone and manage as best you can, or rely occasionally on a family member. The question is whether help is reasonably required, not whether a paid carer is already in place. Attendance allowance is paid at 2 rates. The lower rate is approximately £77 a week for people who need frequent help or supervision during either the day or the night. The higher rate is approximately £115 a week for people who need help or supervision both during the day and at night. Over a full year, that higher rate comes to almost £6,000, paid tax-free directly into your account. There is one very important reason not to delay starting the claim. Attendance allowance is generally not backdated to the date when your illness or disability first began. The potential claim normally starts from the date you contact the Department for Work and Pensions and request the claim form, as long as you return it within the required period. That first telephone call effectively starts the clock. Every week you delay, maybe another week of support you cannot recover. Ask for the Attendance Allowance claim form, known as Form AA1. Organizations such as Age UK and Citizens Advice can help you complete it without charging you. In Scotland, the equivalent benefit is now called Pension Age Disability Payment and is administered under the Scottish system. That is the first payment. The second is very different because it is not a new benefit at all. It may be money that somebody already earned through the state pension system but was never correctly paid. For a number of years, errors in Department for Work and Pensions records meant certain women did not receive increases that should have been added to their pension under the old state pension system. If you are a man watching, this information may still matter to your wife, mother, sister, or another woman in your family because the sums involved can be substantial. The issue mainly affects women who reached state pension age before April 2016 and whose pension could have been increased using their husband's national insurance record. Under the old rules, some married women were entitled to a pension based partly on their husband's contributions. For many women, the expected increase was never applied. They continued receiving a lower weekly pension for years without knowing that anything was wrong. When the Department for Work and Pensions carried out a wider review, it identified more than 130,000 people who had been underpaid, with corrections totaling hundreds of millions of pounds. For married women, average repayments have been around £5,500. For some widows, the correction has been closer to £12,000, often paid as one lump sum. A key detail is the date on which the husband reached state pension age. If he reached it before the 17th of March 2008, the increase for his wife was not always applied automatically. In many cases, it had to be claimed, and the only warning may have appeared as a short line on his pension paperwork. Many women never saw it or did not understand what action was required. The Department for Work and Pensions has reviewed most of the cases it could identify using its own records. That means some people may wrongly assume that if they have not been contacted, everything must be correct. For certain older cases, however, no automatic review may be coming. A woman who reached state pension age before April 2016, particularly if she is married, widowed, or divorced, and has always felt that her pension seemed unusually low, should consider asking the pension service to check the calculation. One telephone call can begin a formal review. If an underpayment is confirmed, the arrears may be returned as a lump sum. The third payment does not come directly from the Department for Work and Pensions. It is a reduction on a bill that many pensioners may be paying in full, even though they do not need to. This is council tax reduction, and the rules are administered by your local council. The average annual council tax bill in England is now more than £2,000, yet many older households continue paying the complete amount without ever checking whether they qualify for a discount or a full reduction. For people above state pension age, the means testing rules can be more generous than those applied to younger working age households. If you receive the guarantee credit part of pension credit, your council tax bill may be reduced substantially and in some circumstances can fall to zero. Even if you do not receive pension credit, you may still qualify for a partial reduction if your income is modest and your savings are below the limit used by your council's scheme. Where guarantee credit is involved, savings may be treated differently and may not prevent support in the same way. The reason many pensioners miss this reduction is straightforward. Your council usually sends the standard bill. It does not automatically carry out a full benefits assessment for every resident and tell each person whether they should be paying less. The reduction is normally calculated only after an application is made. Until you ask, the full bill may continue. There may not be one dramatic national deadline, but every month or year you delay can mean paying council tax that could potentially have been reduced. For some households, the saving may be a few £100s. For others receiving guarantee credit, it may remove almost the entire bill. To check, contact the council responsible for your property or search for the council tax reduction section on its official website. The fourth payment is the unusual one mentioned earlier. It can apply when you care for somebody at home, perhaps a husband, wife, partner, or parent who can no longer manage safely without help. If that describes your situation, this part could be worth more than £2,500 a year. Carer's allowance is paid to certain people who provide at least 35 hours of care each week for someone receiving a qualifying disability benefit, such as attendance allowance. The weekly amount is around £86. However, there is an overlapping benefit rule. If you already receive the state pension, particularly the full amount, you normally cannot be paid carer's allowance on top because the state pension is worth more. A person applies, receives a letter saying no carer's allowance can be paid, and naturally assumes that the matter is finished. But that refusal letter may still be extremely valuable. If you satisfy all the conditions for carer's allowance but cannot receive the payment because of your state pension, the decision may confirm what is called an underlying entitlement. This means the government accepts that you meet the caring conditions, even though it cannot pay both benefits at the same time. That underlying entitlement can increase the amount used when your pension credit is calculated. It may unlock the carer addition within pension credit worth a little over £48 a week. Across a year, that is more than £2,500. It could increase pension credit you already receive or even bring your assessed income low enough for you to qualify for pension credit for the first time. This is why the process feels so unusual. To reach the additional money, you may need to apply for carer's allowance, even though you expect the cash payment itself to be refused. You then use the decision confirming underlying entitlement when speaking to the pension credit team. Many people miss this because they think, quite reasonably, that there is no point applying when their state pension is higher. Without the carer's allowance decision, however, the additional carer amount may never be considered. There is an important warning before starting. If the person you care for receives a severe disability addition or severe disability premium within their own means-tested benefits, your carer's allowance claim or underlying entitlement could sometimes reduce or remove that person's additional payment. You must examine the effect on the whole household, not only the potential gain for the carer. Citizens Advice Age UK or another benefits advisor can help you check the interaction before making the claim. The fifth and final item can produce the largest single lump sum on this list, but it has a strict time limit. It concerns people who have reached state pension age but have not yet claimed their state pension. Some people deliberately defer because they want a higher pension later. Others simply assume the pension begins automatically when they reach the qualifying age. It does not. The state pension normally has to be claimed. When a late claim is made, it may be possible to ask for payments to be backdated for up to 12 months. You do not normally need to provide a detailed explanation for why you did not claim sooner. If the full 12 months are available, the Department for Work and Pensions can pay the weeks owed as a lump sum alongside the start of the regular pension. With the full new state pension worth a little over £240 a week, 12 months of backdating can amount to more than £12,500. But you should not assume that the backdating will automatically be offered or selected. When making the claim, state clearly that you want it backdated to the earliest date permitted. There is a genuine decision to make. Leaving your state pension unclaimed is treated as deferring it, and deferral can increase your future weekly pension. Under the new state pension rules, delaying for a full year can add just under 6% to the eventual weekly amount. You may therefore need to choose between taking up to a year of missed pension as a lump sum or leaving the pension deferred in exchange for a permanently higher weekly payment. For someone who deliberately postponed claiming, the higher future income may be attractive. For somebody who simply did not realize a claim was required, the lump sum may be the preferred option. It is not automatically free money because choosing the backdated payment affects the deferral increase you might otherwise receive. The important point is that the backdating window is limited. You can normally go back only 12 months from the date of the claim. Any earlier weeks may be permanently lost. Therefore, if you have already reached state pension age and have not made a claim, this is the issue to deal with first. Contact the pension service and say clearly that you want to claim your state pension and ask for the claim to be backdated as far as the rules allow. None of these payments necessarily comes looking for you. Attendance allowance requires a claim. Old state pension underpayments may require you to request a review. Council tax reduction must usually be applied for through the council. The carer addition may depend on first establishing underlying entitlement to carer's allowance. State pension backdating must be requested before the 12-month window passes. The dividing line between receiving the money and missing it is often simply knowing the rule and making the first call. Share this information with somebody above state pension age, somebody caring for a partner, or anyone whose pension has always seemed lower than expected. One conversation could be worth hundreds or even thousands of pounds.